Now this is podcasting.
Oh, now this is podcasting.
And the lines continue to get better throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, plenty more where that came from.
Get as many puns out of the way before we start.
Yeah, if you got any more puns, do it now, guys. Welcome back, everybody, to Star Wars Total Rewatch, where we are totally rewatching Star Wars. Not just the movies, but the cartoons and holiday specials and everything as well. But today it's the movies.
A real treat.
Yeah, I'm excited to get back into good Star Wars again.
Right? Although a lot of people out there will disagree with that, but
Some might disagree. But I'll tell you, we've spent months hiking through the forests of Endor with the Ewoks, and so I think after that, episode 1 is good Star Wars.
yes. Oh, vastly better.
I can only imagine.
Like eating nothing but sawdust for months, and now we get like a good steak.
I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it a steak, but
A full plate of Darth Maul.
What's your choice cut? Of all?
Gross. Gross. I hear a familiar voice. I'm Aaron.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Cody.
And I am Isaac, jumping back into the good stuff.
There's a name I've not heard in a long time. We found this crazy old hermit out on the wilderness and brought him on.
Said he watched Star Wars Episode 1, so we're like, okay, you're in.
Out in the Dune Sea.
Out of the Sarlacc pit.
He claimed it's his favorite Star Wars of them all, so
Of them all.
of them all. So yeah, better have some good commentary.
And they just keep coming.
Yeah, so you couldn't quite stay with us for every single episode of Droids and Ewoks, but we're glad to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be heard.
All right, so shall we dive into this exciting adventure?
Oh yeah. So we haven't told you listeners what we are talking about today. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Ooh, we're going back in time. Isn't that
And
crazy?
who is he? We shall find out.
Yeah, who's that?
Who is
menace?
the Phantom Menace? Well, that is a good question. Maybe we can see if we've figured it
Dennis.
out. by
His
the
name
end
is
of the movie.
Dennis Skywalker.
What a menace.
So we have jumped forward quite a few number of years since the last thing we watched.
Did we leave off in 86 or 87?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last thing was 1980s. Well, 87 if you want to count Star Tours.
Oh yeah, we did. We talked about the Disney ride Star Tours, Isaac. We did a whole episode.
I bet you that was quite the ride.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Ewoks ended in 86, and here we are 13 years later.
13 years later in terms of the real world, but
Yeah.
Right.
we're how many years prior?
Yeah, how many years? Like 30?
I think it was about 30.
Oh, you guys actually saw it in theaters, though, correct?
Yeah. So I was going to say, this is the first Star Wars that I remember. This is the first new Star Wars that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up watching the original movies, but this was a big deal when it came out. So yeah, Daniel and our family went to see it in the theater. What about you guys, Cody, Isaac? When did you see this?
Oh gosh, back when I was really young, I remember watching it on. Did we have a VHS copy? Well, I think it was on DVD then. But I remember watching it on an old tube TV.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really at the age to really comprehend a whole lot of stuff going on, but I did like the battles.
Oh yeah. Those will stick with you.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I thought I went to the theaters and watched this, but I don't know.
I mean, we must have seen the original trilogy before these came out, right?
Oh yeah, we had seen the
I
originals.
don't like we'd been watching the originals. Yeah, we were huge fans.
You're right. I'm sure I went and saw this in theaters.
Sure, we went. I can't remember though. Do you remember actually going, Aaron? I don't.
Oh yeah. I'm
Oh,
pretty
cool.
sure you went too, but
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure.
I definitely did.
Probably went a few times.
What do you remember of it?
I've seen it so many times, like, since then, it's hard to really remember my initial theater reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember liking it. I thought it was really cool. I remember a lot of the space battles. And because I was a kid when it came out, I thought Jar Jar Binks was hilarious, so I remember him.
Right.
Mhm.
I definitely think as kids we would, like I enjoyed everything about him.
Mhm.
That's what I remember. So he never really bothered me until I was older and people pointed it out. And he still doesn't bother me, but
Yeah. He doesn't bother me. I think he's a distraction, but
I understand why he bothers people, but he
yeah.
doesn't bother
Mhm.
me.
I think it's because we were all the target audience for that. Like when this came out, it was just like everything about this movie is great. I love it.
Mhm.
And so even like I'm older now, and yeah, like you said, I understand in my head like the reasons why there's a lot of stuff in this movie that's just not great,
Yeah.
but it doesn't stop me from enjoying it. Like I still think it's a fun movie to watch.
Oh yeah.
I think I've seen it so many times that like I know where when he comes in, and I know the scenes when he's the comic relief or whatever, and like whatever, but I can focus on the story, and it's actually a really good story, and it's really engaging, so it doesn't matter to me. But I could see how it could take you out of it if you're not expecting something, that kind of humor
No, yeah.
for sure.
I think if I'd been an adult watching this movie for the first time, I would have had a different reaction.
At least to him, yeah.
Mm.
Even with like the sequels that they're coming out with now, I think I don't know. It's maybe harder to overlook things because I think a little harder about how the movies are made, and like I know a little more about writing and filmmaking and stuff,
Mhm.
So things bother me in the sequels that should bother me in the prequels, but don't.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, yeah, I think it does. And I mean, tons of people have already like ripped it apart for every tiny little detail and like say how much they hate every single part of it. But no, I enjoy them. You came here expecting a terrible
Alright.
rip apart. Sorry.
Think again.
I'm not saying it's amazing, or I'm not saying like it's the greatest Star Wars / movie of all time. It's certainly got its issues, but there's still, like, for instance, I remember being really bored during a lot of the Senate stuff and just the interactions between like little Annie and but now I find the Senate stuff surprisingly interesting. Just kind of the whole political things going on behind the scenes and just how Palpatine's kind of manipulating everything. And I still find the stuff with little Annie kind of annoying. But
We'll get into the opening crawl here, but yeah, like watching it again, I think I'm so much more interested in the backstory to everything because we've been digging so deep into Star Wars with this podcast, and like, so I was googling some stuff. Wikipedia is our friend, and there's so much depth to everything that's happening, and like the political contention and stuff is so interesting.
it is.
This movie is so different from all the other Star Wars movies.
Yeah, even of the other of the prequel, other two.
Oh yeah, it's different from those two. It just feels like it's its own thing.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I really, appreciate with kind of what George Lucas has done. Like, he didn't just remake one of the original movies, but tweak a few little things, like they did with, Episode 7.
What could you possibly be referring?
Like, he actually, he tried new things. Like, the enemies in this one, they're, like, totally different style. They're not, like, these just, stoic stormtroopers that are just all blank and brutal. Instead, they kind of have, like, these sort of goofy droids. I don't know. It's just, he really just did something different and did not repeat himself, which is
the creativity of it. Yeah, everything in this movie is new. You hardly see anything that was in the original movies, actually, apart from Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine and a few, species. Jabba the Hutt, I guess.
Yeah, but
the Emperor.
Almost everything in these is different. Yeah, okay. Not everything is different, but I feel like on the whole, there's so much more new stuff to see than maybe you would expect.
Well, and they go to Tatooine. Like, yeah, we've seen Tatooine, but I mean, it's a totally different experience on it.
Yeah, that's true. They don't revisit any of it.
They didn't even do a classic cantina scene.
True. Yeah, I feel like other people probably would be like, "Oh, we got to put something like that in there."
Well, right. No, it doesn't follow any of the tropes.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to. It's like this huge world, and like obviously he's the one that created it, but there's so many different things to dive into. He does.
Could have been like the Hunger Games, where they have the Hunger Games every single movie.
Right.
I'm a little curious what would have happened if George Lucas had done the sequels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They would have been something very different. I'm sure there'd be stuff people would hate, but people hate stuff about the ones we got too, so...
People can rip on him about like maybe how he directs or whatever, but his creativity shows very much, I think, in this movie.
Yeah.
Right. We wouldn't be worse off if he had just done his own.
I think you'd have a lot richer and in-depth story, even if it wasn't as well done.
Well, so like episode 1 is just an explosion of lore. I kind of said that last time. It's like this just comes out of left field, and for anybody that was fans of like Star Wars stuff, this is just it's like the second Riddick movie. You know what I mean?
Actually, I do know what you mean. You're expecting another self-contained action story, and instead it's like, what? Is this
Chronicles
based on
of
like
Riddick.
a giant book series I wasn't familiar with or something?
That movie is crazy. Should I read the opening crawl?
Yeah, read the whole thing and then we can dissect.
Yeah. Can I do one other thing before you even do that?
Oh yeah.
Can I tell you some movies that came out in 1999?
Yeah.
This came out in 99. Why was I thinking it was like 2000? So I was 7. Holy cow. Maybe I didn't go to it.
Is it December?
May.
May. Oh wow.
99.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was 11.
I was just turning 7.
I was 9. Just
All
stating our age.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Cody, 4. Were you like 4 years old?
I don't know. Something like that. What's math?
Something like that.
5. What, 5?
Go for it.
Yeah. So these are a little more within living memory, but probably the one that stands out the most to me from that year would be The Matrix.
Yep.
Came out that year.
Ooh,
Yep.
Wow.
And actually, the one that stands out to me the most is Galaxy Quest.
Oh, that's great. Good movie, by the way.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Big year for the sci-fi world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a few.
I mean, certainly Matrix and, Phantom Menace. Those two were big.
And Phantom Menace.
I don't know.
And Muppets from Space.
Yeah, Galaxy Quest wasn't a huge hit,
That's what I was thinking, but I mean,
but it's a great movie.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I've seen it, to be honest.
Oh my goodness.
Galaxy Quest?
As appalling as that may sound.
No, that's okay, but you should watch it. That's probably one of my favorites, other than Star Wars.
Yep.
And other things. But let's see, what else do we have here? The Sixth Sense, The Mummy, Tarzan, Toy Story 2.
Wait, which Tarzan?
The Disney.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Not George of the Jungle.
Brendan Fraser. No, yeah, you're right.
Oh no, Dudley Do-Right with Brendan Fraser came out this year.
And The Mummy.
Yeah. And The Blair Witch Project, Muppets from Space, Mystery Men, Fight Club, The Green Mile, Stuart Little, The Iron Giant, Office Space, bunch of romantic comedies, 10 Things I Hate About You, Runaway Bride. Those are the highlights, at least the ones that stood out to me. There are lots of other movies I recognized, but part of that's just because I remember seeing trailers for things.
Sure.
So, yeah. I'm going to need to do those TPS reports.
Yeah.
All right, so the opening crawl, shall we start off?
Yeah.
Yeah, jumping into Star Wars. Here we go.
By start
What
off, I
happens?
mean like 20 minutes in.
Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic. The taxation of trade routes to outlying star systems is in dispute. Hoping to resolve the matter with a blockade of deadly battleships, the greedy Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo. While the Congress of the Republic endlessly debates this alarming chain of events, the Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched 2 Jedi Knights, the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, to settle the conflict.
It's quite an interesting crawl. It's like,
It's just politics. No, I know. It feels like such a small thing, which I like.
One thing that I probably shouldn't be thinking so hard about, but is that part of the reason they called it episode 4 with the original movie is to make you feel like you're jumping into the middle of things. So you'd think that this being episode 1 would not be jumping right into the middle of things, but like it still is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's episode 1 of a series of events.
Yeah, that's true. Of the Skywalker saga.
It's supposed to be just galaxy that's so much going on, so big, but yeah, that's a good point.
It's the story of, it's the story of Anakin is the whole series,
Yeah,
primarily
Yeah.
the Skywalker saga.
but I mean, realistically, it is Anakin for the
Yeah.
first 6.
And I was thinking about like, it's like, yeah, I mean, he I'm sure Lucas had a timeline charted out for, events, just a general outline of it. And it's like, where in the story do you start, your Skywalker saga, right? And I just think it's so interesting. Like, this is such a point, like this really critical point of contention for the Emperor's plan, really. I mean, he set all this up, and it's kind of like, and like sending Jedi to this place. Like, it's so interesting hearing the Nemoidians talking. They're like, this isn't good. They sent Jedi.
Yep.
And I think that really rushed plans along. It's just so cool with that all in perspective.
Yeah, like the 2 big events, it kind of sets up for the Emperor to become in charge a bit more, and also the Sith are revealed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Jedi, they glaze over it a little, but like the Jedi have thought they've been extinct for years.
And also just I think the galaxy has been at peace for a long time. Like there hasn't been a big war. And what the Trade Federation is doing is like super illegal. They're under the direction of Palpatine.
I will make it legal.
Yeah. And like I don't know if he was really planning on trying to like cover up what he was doing here. I think he meant to have it be a big dispute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he wanted it to start. I mean, the works of the war, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's always went as planned or not, but
Yeah, I'm assuming he probably had several plans, in case
Contingency
the war
plans.
swung one way or the other.
yep, for sure.
That's one thing I wrote down is just what exactly is his plan? I keep thinking I have it figured out, but then things keep coming up that make me unsure about it.
Yeah.
He seems to really want them to sign this treaty.
Well, the wild card is Queen Amidala. She's very headstrong, and he's like, you see his face every time. Like he's like, what is she doing?
Oh, yeah.
And he's just got to like adapt quickly to her plans, and then he ends up getting her into the council, to plead their case, and it works out well for him. He has plans for every alternative event.
Even his plans have plans.
Yeah, it's plan to plan.
Yeah, and that really comes out in the Clone Wars. You see, he has all sorts of crazy plans, and they keep, they get thwarted one after another, usually anyways. That just adds on to it even more.
Cool. Do we want to like actually summarize anything, or do we just assume everyone's seen this?
Everything's
Assume too much. Yeah, I mean, right. So with a lot of our episodes where we discussed these 80s cartoons, we really kind of went through the plot of each episode in a lot of detail. But part of that was we were not very familiar with them, but also because we're not sure if everybody out there is going to watch all of those. But yeah, from this point onward, especially with the movies, I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you've seen the movies. So we don't have to do a lot of like plot summaries.
Sure.
Or probably for the Clone Wars shows either, because you really should be watching along with.
I mean, like, usually TV shows aren't too bad to just give a quick, like, couple-minute summary.
Yeah. But anyway, that's just a general thought. But I think, yeah, we should maybe, somebody want to see if you can summarize this in like a couple sentences?
That's a challenge.
I know. It's like actually a pretty convoluted plot.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces going on.
Yeah.
Jedi attempt to stop an illegal blockade, but it ends in violence. They escape with the queen and her company, but crash, essentially. Have to land on another planet, a backwater planet, where they meet this boy, whom they use to gamble their way to get money to leave that planet, return to the Senate, plead for intervention, which does not happen because politicians got a politic, and then they return back to Naboo, where the queen fled, where they enlist the help of the native species, where they set up an army and the plot, and they overthrow the bad guys and win the day. The end.
And Anakin will train to be a Jedi.
Yeah, and Qui-Gon dies. Spoilers.
I'm saying Anakin was trained to be a Jedi under the had-been apprentice Obi-Wan, who's now no longer,
Yeah.
not an apprentice anymore. I don't know. Is he a Jedi Knight now? I don't know what.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets the rank of knight at the end.
No, that makes sense. We just didn't hear you the first time.
But instantly acquires Anakin, who's old for a Padawan as his Padawan to train.
Yeah. But he's the chosen one. He must be trained. The boy must be trained.
Yeah, I just think it's just kind of interesting because I was just trying to think of their age. Like I don't remember how old Obi-Wan was, but it's like they are very close, I think, in age, and that's part of kind of end up becoming buddy. They're pretty good friends more than like mentor and master.
You're my brother.
Yeah, exactly. Because what's Anakin 12 in this movie?
Maybe 10. Well, I don't know. See, I guess I'm not sure how old he's supposed to be.
I feel like we've talked about this before, and I never really remember. But probably not that important. But it's interesting, I think. And then like how old is Padme? That's the other dynamic.
Well, right. You compare their ages because they end up falling in love, and it's like,
The actors don't seem close, but are.
Right.
That's why I feel like it's like 12 and like 16 or something like that. But I could be wrong.
And what kind of people elects a 16-year-old?
I think that's what they're going for, is not too distant in age, but it doesn't come across that way.
Not in the first one, but obviously after that.
After that they seem close in age.
Yeah, that little kid grew up real fast.
That's what Padme said too. Yeah, I don't know. She said something like that.
He'll always be that little boy I remember from
Yeah, you're right. He didn't grow up at all.
He really didn't. Such a baby.
I do remember hearing somewhere that at one point, like in one of the earlier drafts of the story, he was supposed to be older. Maybe like until they got to the casting process and just picked a younger kid.
So Anakin is 9 and Padme's 14.
14? No way.
He turns 10 during the film.
Okay, she's not 14.
By the time of their...
What?
Like the actress was 14, or the
first thing that
character?
pops up. By the time of their sexual relationship on the clone.
Oh boy!
Said 10 years later, he was 19 and she was 24.
Let's just leave that assumed and not go into it any further.
I don't know why they chose that. That was just the first thing that popped up. Okay, anyway.
No, I get it.
Necessary for the plot.
Right.
Hey, you're right. They have kids somehow.
That's a good point.
They were just conceived by midichlorians. Let's just that's what we'll tell the kids.
That's how Jedi do it.
That's how Babby is made.
Oh boy. Anyway, what else is going on here?
Oh, we could talk about just the entrance that they give off and how these cool, sleek Jedi in these awesome robes are just strutting around like they own the place. Which I guess all Jedis wear robe. It wasn't just old Ben being old Ben. They just love their robes.
That's a good point. I mean, Yoda kind of had one.
They're
too.
all hermits.
Yeah, kind of in a sense.
They're monks.
Kind of like monks.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
But Liam Neeson is pretty great.
Oh yeah,
as Qui-Gon.
One's good too.
He's just always got like these great, profound things to say to teach his apprentice. There's Padawan.
Yeah, he was very good in that.
And he just does a really great job of like being measured and in control. Like a Jedi should be, in control of their feelings. I don't know, but he's also very.
He's got his own ideas about things.
Yeah, he does not conform to the normal Jedi. He's definitely a bit rambunctious. I don't know, and it shows.
A little more gray.
Yeah, a little more gray, like using mind tricks and
like all the time.
Oh yeah, he's just like, well, but you just give us some of your stuff.
Yeah.
He'll mind trick you on act because he's just so natural for him. I guess he could just talk, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like not above using the Force to help him cheat and like gambling.
Maxed out Force persuade.
Oh yeah, he's like so at home with gambling. He's gambling all left and right. Yeah, it is. It is really interesting. Like I never really thought about that. Like all the things he does, they're such, and that's kind of his character. He's kind of this like gray-ish Jedi.
Yeah. Versus
Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's kind of by the book.
I was gonna say Obi-Wan questions him about like the pod race at one point. Like, should we be doing this? And
he's like, yeah, sure.
Well, it's like, sure, he's like gambling everything they have, but he says like, I mean, if they don't get the hyperdrive, like they might as well just sell everything they own, Like they need to get off that planet.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what Obi-Wan said. If this doesn't work, we're gonna be stuck here a very long time.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't just mind trick some other guy into giving him his ship. Someone who's not
Well,
a
yeah,
Targaryen.
I was thinking that. I was like, there's no other ship with hyperdrives on that planet. Like they could have just sold the one they had and hopped on some junker.
Right.
Millennium Falcon was probably there.
Are you kidding? No, the queen has to ride in style.
Yeah, right. They can't have the queen on some garbage heap.
Yeah, that's why Padme came along. She's like, no, I'm not flying that thing.
He says, that one's garbage.
What a hunk of junk.
What a piece
Garbage.
of junk. They're gonna sell all her dresses too.
Yeah. I guess it's her consulship. I was wondering for a second. I was thinking that they like threw all of her clothes on before they escaped.
No.
But I guess it would make sense that she would have a wardrobe on there already.
Right.
That didn't even occur to me where it all came from. You're right. She's wearing a different outfit, different hairstyle.
You don't leave the house without your wardrobe as a queen,
Without your 20 wigs.
right?
You think they're wigs? Like, when does she have time to do all that? All those hairdos? They must take a long time.
She has like 7 handmaidens, so I mean.
True.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, so Obi-Wan is 25 in episode 1. Way older than I thought. So they're not even close in age. Then 19 and 35 in the second movie.
Old enough to be his father. Old enough to be his grandfather.
To me, wait.
No. Not quite.
I don't know. That was all.
No, like their relationship.
Oh yeah, it just seems like,
feel like they're closer.
and I guess because of the actors, they appear like they could be closer. So I just imagine them as like. Plus, Obi-Wan's an apprentice in the first movie. Like I thought he could have been in his teens, But
Well, Anakin
Yeah,
catches up to him in age
it could
pretty
be.
quick between movies.
right.
He just ages unnaturally fast because of the metachlorians.
Yeah, that's why he ages so poorly, isn't it?
Yeah,
You talk
That's
about
why.
midichlorians.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that.
Sure.
The what?
Metachlorians.
Maybe over-explaining something. Yeah, what are midichlorians? I've been wondering.
Yeah.
Master Yoda talked about them.
That just seems weird. How like before in the other movies, they're like the Force is this mystical thing that nobody really knows is real or trusts in, but apparently you can just scan for and know that they have a high concentration of midichlorians or something like that. They should have just left it alone and unexplained.
I don't know what they were trying to say by it. Like, are they saying the reason the metachlorians like are the Force, like it's synonymous, and they are able to just like talk to the metachlorians and like manipulate them? Is that the whole idea? They're in every cell.
Don't think so. I think it's kind of a representation, but maybe not.
That's what I was thinking. Like maybe there are beings with high metachlorian counts that are not Force sensitive in the slightest, but it's just kind of like a hint.
Apparently, the Force spoke through midichlorians.
Okay, great. Well, there you go.
They are microscopic, intelligent life forms.
Mm.
If you want to know what a midichlorian is. Well, that made it even dumber. Anyways.
I know.
I mean, I feel like it was. I don't know. Maybe that's too simple. But my thought was it's just kind of a way of showing. There's something really special about Anakin, other than people just saying, "Oh, Qui-Gon going, oh, he's the chosen one." People would be like,
Yeah,
well,
that's true.
why?" They're like, well, he has more midichlorians than Yoda. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a quick gauge to be like, okay, wow, it's like pretty rare. Like,
It's over 9,000.
Yeah, I don't agree. Yeah, I agree that they should not have done it that way. I almost
Yeah.
think that they should have just been like, oh, I just sense immense power from him or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, well, they say the Force is strong with him. Like that's all you need to say.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
I think you're right. I think that probably is the reason they did it, though.
yeah, that's all I'm saying. I think that's why they did it, and also he was conceived from the Force.
Oh, I mean, that's another question we could get
I
into.
think that's really interesting, and we had mentioned in one of the Ewoks episodes that came up actually. Isn't that
Ah,
great?
that's right.
About
a virgins
force
in the
a
Force.
force virgins,
Mhm.
and Qui-Gon does say he encountered a virgins in the Force, and what that means is like a center point where the Force is focused, and that's what Anakin is he is a virgins. Where it's like just a
And they
very,
say it's centered around a person? Like, we've never seen that
Right,
one.
a
That
boy.
before.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that's very cool. If you read about Anakin, Like I was trying to figure out, like, yeah, so how did that work? He was just created by midichlorians, and it was actually like some ancient Sith was like trying, like, or who was it?
Well, okay.
Darth Plagueis?
Yeah,
Wise?
not stated in the movies anywhere, but I read this somewhere too. I never thought about it just watching the movies, but Palpatine's story in episode 3, right? The Legend of Darth Plagueis
Mhm.
is talking about how he was even able to manipulate the midichlorians to create life.
Right.
And people are trying to link that. Was that in an actual source?
That was in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll read Wikipedia here. It says he was able to resurrect the Bith, Darth Venamis. Apparently, he brought him back to life using the Force. But then he decided to take his powers further and reach out to the midichlorians across the galaxy in order to gain dominance over them. But the Force resisted his efforts, and in response, they acted of their own accord and conceived a child within Shmi Skywalker for some reason.
Really?
Ah.
That's interesting. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could have been anyone, but that's who they met, you know?
Yeah, it almost seems like it was a mistake or something, just random.
Well,
or it was prophecy, right?
he is the Emperor's downfall, so he does bring peace.
Yeah, I had heard that story, and I think I thought it meant like they purposely created Anakin, but for some reason he was just out in the random planet. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I like that explanation where it says the Force still made him, like the Force did it, right, on its own.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I assumed it must have meant.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I mean, the Force knew it needed to get balanced out, so it made this it, I guess.
And I kind of like the concept that they used throughout the new sequel trilogy, like how when the dark side gets strong in one place, like then the light side balances it out somehow. That's kind of what this feels like, where it's like Darth Plagueis like brought this on himself by gaining so much power,
Yep.
by bringing back life. He created Anakin. Isn't that weird? Well, you read the books, didn't you, Isaac? You probably know more about Darth Plagueis.
I mean, I've read some books. I never read one of those books.
No, you didn't. I'd be very curious.
I'd like to read. Well, there's one book, I guess, called Darth Plagueis. I would like to read that one for sure. I read like the Darth Bane books.
Mm-hmm.
The Darth Bane books. That was like the beginning of the Rule of Two, I guess.
Yeah.
Mostly.
I was looking up stuff about that too, because I was curious, like where had the Sith been this whole time?
Yeah, like
like
that one's kind of starts it. It's just kind of cool because it's like he kind of kills a bunch of the rest of the Sith too, and then like basically starts this Rule of Two thing and has him and an apprentice and like working in the shadows, and he kills some other books, but it's like, he's not like going out of his way to do it. He kills them and then, nobody ever knows about it, how they died or whatever.
I'm playing through Knights of the Old Republic and I'm on Korriban right now. And so like you go to these tombs of these ancient Sith. It's like Ajunta Hall is the one I just did. And it's like, they were like this, like the Sith ruled the galaxy at some point.
Yep.
Like way in the past, Old Republic era. But they all just like killed each other because they were so jealous of everyone else's power. Yeah. And that's where like the Rule of Two was formed, because it's like, this is the only way we can actually function.
Yeah, it was I think a little bit of that, and it was also kind of the idea was like, so in this book, I don't know if they were really ruling. They were more at war with the Jedi and stuff at this point anyway. It was like open war, just like this never-ending war. And I think his thought theory idea too was like, one, like with so many people, it kind of diluted the power. Nobody really had all the power. I don't know. They explain it probably better than that, but
no.
Somehow it was like they would be more powerful by them just having one to have the power and the other to crave it.
Right, and eventually overthrow
them. That was the idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Because then they'd also continuously become more powerful by doing that, versus like this whole betrayal thing. And with so many of them, somebody less powerful kills someone more powerful, and so
you gang up on one more powerful one,
you gang up on them. Yeah, versus if you have two of them,
it just doesn't work.
Yeah, only the most powerful survives.
Yep. That's cool.
Where do we jump back in?
Where do we jump back in?
I've got all kinds of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going in order of the story, they were on the Federation ship, the Nemoidians.
We see some battle droids, whom I wonder if Lucas went with droids just so he could have lightsabers cut things up without it being super violent.
I don't know, just to boost up the CGI budget, give ILM something to do.
I mean, maybe, but also like the idea of, because he introduces clones eventually and they're people, but the idea of these two armies that basically just will go on endlessly because you just make them.
Yep. No, that's exactly the plan, is to create a war, just like very quickly too.
Or that will never end because you can't kill them because they just keep making them.
Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't end until he wants it to.
Nobody knew about this droid army being made either. I think that's really cool. It's like, man, where'd they get this huge army from? You know?
Right.
Well, they knew they had somewhat of an army.
Yeah.
Because, like, when they were on the ground, Queen Amidala and her advisors were saying that we're no match for the Federation army. So, like, they knew that
the Federation army, though. Like, it gets way bigger than that.
Sure. Trade.
Yeah, good point, though, yeah.
The Jedi here are surprised. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, it's an invasion army when they see it on the Federation ship. Well, maybe they knew that they had an army, but like, whoa, they brought their whole force here. You know?
Yeah,
like this is like a serious takeover.
This is not just like a blockade for some trade dispute. They're like taking over the city or the planet.
I laughed when the first line out of the battle droid. I kind of forgot about how silly their voices are. But I actually got a kick out of it. I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoy them probably more in these though than like, I don't think it's until the third one that they mimic the cartoons, right? In the Revenge of the Sith, they start to have like more of there's this goofy personality.
They were a lot more talkative in the third one.
Yeah, but they have different tones too. This one, they're just like, that does not compute. You're under arrest.
Yeah.
Whereas the other
right.
ones are like, excuse me. I don't know.
They evolved.
No, I had not even thought about that.
I remember finding that a little annoying in episode 3.
Yeah, you get used to it, but yeah.
Sure.
So like starting with these, I was like, oh, it's a classic, like just the monotone droids.
Okay.
And well, like we know droids have personalities, like R2D2, C3PO.
True.
Like, they all have different personalities. So I wonder how much of it is like programmed, or part of it is just an effect of their AI.
Yeah. What's it called? Rampancy, right? An AI. They just learn so much that they just eventually deteriorate and go insane.
I don't think these battle droids last long enough for
right. That's why you don't have to worry about it.
The way they get cut up, yeah.
Well, that's why they do regular memory wipes.
Yeah, yep.
That's actually why. It's a theoretical AI thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Otherwise, you get R2D2 who goes crazy.
He kind of is crazy.
Yeah.
So Jar Jar, is that where we're at?
All right.
No, keep going.
So
No, let's talk about Jar Jar.
So what I did while I was watching this, I wrote a list of all the times that they could have let Jar Jar die.
I did. I didn't do that, but I feel like a similar idea in my head of just going like, I'm watching this for the first time and I'm like, this thing is so annoying, and then like you get to another scene and he's still with him. And then you hear him go, no, you saved me. I owe you a life debt. And there's like, oh my goodness.
Like, no, you don't.
Yeah, no, you really don't.
He shows up 10 minutes in the movie and you're like, he's going to be here the whole time now.
Right. And then it's like, then they get to Tatooine and they pan out to see, Qui-Gon's like, I'm going to go check things out. And you pan out and Jar Jar's next to him. You're like, what is he doing with him?
You can't get rid of this guy.
Of all the people, why would you take him?
Yeah, and I like how he was so reluctant to take Padme along to Tatooine, like into the city. Jar Jar's just next to him, walking. Yeah, no question about him.
You want to hear my list?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I mean, it's pretty lengthy here. There's so many good opportunities.
Give us some of the highlights.
Kill Jar Jar.
So obviously, he could have just gotten run over by the droid shuttle, right away.
Yeah.
Plotted. Yep.
And then when the Gungans arrest him, just leave him there. Perfect.
Wait a minute, you
And,
missed one. What were the droids? What was the next scene when Obi-Wan meets Jar Jar
yeah, the droid
and the battle
shoots
droid
him.
shoots at him? Yeah.
There's a few points where they could have you could have gotten shot in battle. Because like later here, they rescue the queen, and then they rescue the pilots. Like a lot of crossfire, just a stray bullet.
Yep.
For a little force wave your hand, and there you go.
Yeah.
I said they could have sent him out with the droids when they go to fix the ship, right? And he just gets blasted off into space. Great. They could have abandoned him on Tatooine in the desert.
Oh, I could have lost him anywhere.
They could have traded him for the hyperdrive.
Yeah, right.
I don't think anybody would have taken that though after like 5 minutes with them.
Sebulba could have just killed him in the market. There you go. They could have pushed him off of the viewing platform. Like, no one would know. And then he doesn't do much after that when they're on Coruscant.
No, he does they kind of slowly fades him out a bit.
Yeah.
But he is key.
Oh, actually, when they're escaping Tatooine, you don't see him at all when they're escaping Tatooine, and like Darth Maul's after them. But
Yeah.
Darth Maul would have taken him out, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and then obviously the last battle scene, he should have died.
Right. He could have killed himself, really. What he was doing, I'm just like accidentally.
The way he was throwing those bombs around randomly.
Bombs, kicking the battle droid. Yeah.
Clearly. Anyway, I had to do that. Not that I hate Jar Jar that much, but I mean, just to think about.
Right.
It's amazing how long he lasted.
Well, and that's why some people would say he is Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Just pretending to be
Clumsy and stupid.
It's all an act.
Yeah.
A very good act.
No, I don't mind Jar Jar for the reasons I said earlier, probably just because I've been familiar with him since I was a kid when this movie came out, and I guess can't really see it differently, even though yeah, he is pretty annoying.
Right.
I don't mind him. It's more just like oh, that Jar Jar, what a character. Roll my eyes a little bit.
They could have also left him to get punished as well.
I said that, yeah. He got arrested.
You did say that?
It's like,
Yeah.
Might as well leave him.
They didn't need him to guide them.
How does he know his way through the planet core? Like, that's crazy.
He's not really giving them any.
He doesn't help them at all. I know.
No, they knew he didn't need help. They just used the Force to guide them.
Maybe the Force knew that he would have an important role to play.
He did have a role to play. That's Qui-Gon knows these things.
Around. It's like sparing Gollum.
Right.
There you go.
Oh, and speaking of Gollum,
throw him into Mount Doom. There you go.
No. Jar Jar was the first completely CGI movie character.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
This
still
was a couple
holds
years
up,
before
too.
The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, he looked really good actually. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the sets
Yeah.
are animated too. Like, it was a lot of blue screen in this movie, but
Yeah, some of it holds up, some of it not as much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jar Jar still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But like this was pretty revolutionary
Yep.
to do that, to have a character that was completely computer animated. And I think if people hadn't disliked the actual character the way they did, I think it would have probably been remembered a lot more as like a big breakthrough of technology.
sure, I think it
But
still
I think
is.
instead,
But
it still is. But I think a lot of the focus tends to go to like the negative things about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I also heard like that end droid Gungan battle is like the first battle scene between this many animated figures. Like that was like revolutionary as well.
It was big. That was a large battle.
It's like pre Lord of the Rings, which is kind of insane.
Oh yeah, they're fighting on the Windows XP background.
The hills. Yeah, man. Did anybody do a Photoshop of that with the droid army on it? That would be cool. Here, like this. There it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially when the droid army is rolling over the hill. It looks very much like that.
Cool.
I really like
Yes.
the Gungan
Yes,
city.
I also wrote that down. It's just how cool that city was, because it was completely different and just amazing. The architecture and just the design of it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was just so many unique, different things in this movie. It was just like one right after another.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and then when they're swimming toward it, you get
Yeah.
the choir comes in. Very cool. And I could say this at a number of different points, but the music is great in this movie. This might be one of my favorite soundtracks for Star Wars.
Yeah, the music is really cool in this part.
I'm gonna say I've been playing a bunch of Subnautica, this ocean game, and like this whole part, and then the whole thing through the planet core with all the giant fish and stuff. I was like, oh, so cool. I love just all the underwater stuff. Such a unique setting and atmosphere for Star Wars, especially.
And it's like just this brief little thing, you know. Like it's not like they set the stage and like have like half the movie in this world. You know, it's just like another part of the movie of this adventure, but then you never see it again.
You're right. Yeah. The amount of detail.
I'm not saying bad or good. You know, it's a just kind of cool that they have all this, so much detail. They create this whole like underworld or world, and then you just don't see it again.
Well, I mean, you see it. Well, you do see a little bit of it in the Clone Wars
Do you?
TV show. They go back to it.
In the rest of the movie, though,
Yeah, in this movie, yeah, or any of the other movies.
most movies you'd think something this detailed would be like
Yeah.
a major part of the movie, but yeah, and they don't ever come
No.
back here, do
No,
they?
I mean, Jar Jar does, but they don't show
In the
it.
films.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think I feel like it's in, like, I kind of can't believe that we only see this thing for like 5 minutes total in any movie. It just feels like a real place.
That's a Star Wars thing, though. Of these really iconic locations. It's great.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think. So there's so many things they do so well in these movies. I don't know.
And that's why I can enjoy these. There's some dialogue that I don't like and stuff, but like there's enough to enjoy.
I think there's so many things that outweigh the negative. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, shoot. I just remembered. I don't suppose anybody found like a deleted scenes videos or anything like that.
No, I didn't even look.
No, I've seen some deleted
'Cause
scenes.
we did that for the other three, but
Not recently. There's one when they come up out of the water and immediately, like, almost go over a waterfall.
Well, it explains what happens to the bongo because you don't ever see it again.
Right. You could have just assumed they leave it there too.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not gonna bring it back. As wasteful as that might be.
Here, this shot when they come out. This shot continued when they surface, like in feed.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah,
force
and then they
field goes
immediately
down.
realize, oh, we're heading towards a waterfall. It was like,
Yeah.
are you kidding? Makes sense why it was cut, but
yeah.
Anything you want to say besides about the planet core?
There's always a bigger fish.
big goop.
Yes. And there are
Yeah,
so many
there is.
quotes, like quotable things in this movie that you can just use in everyday conversation.
That we do, and we do.
I use this so much.
Not even kidding. It's not a joke.
Yeah, and who says the dialogue's bad?
Every other line is just a meme.
Right.
It's memorable.
It's because it's so bad.
Oh yeah, especially now these movies have become
Super meme material.
very memed. I like the fish and the monsters,
Yeah.
the goober fish,
This is
and I like Jar Jar's explanation of he's telling them why he was banished, and his whole story is just full of nonsense words. Like you really don't know anything more about it. I thought that was just that idea. I think is funny. He's like, "Oh, I just told you the whole story." Crashed into bosses, hey blibber. And I think people have filled in the backgrounds of the story, but in the movie, what meme are you thinking of?
this meme. Surprise, I'm sure, but welcome.
Oh, it is perfectly usable in every situation.
It's just so funny actually to hear.
A welcome one.
People will use that clip. It's really funny.
You can take almost any line from these movies and
Oh, exactly. I know. It's great.
use them in other contexts.
But that was one that made me laugh watching this back and just knowing the meme. It made me laugh. It's not even like a funny line, but
Do they hit the infamous do all button on that ship in this movie? Or is that
the one
only in
that
the second one where
Padme-
Padme uses it for like 5 different tasks?
yeah, I think that's.
I wasn't watching closely enough, but they probably do.
Remember, I don't think they did, but
That's the same ship.
it looks the same. It's this. I think it is. That's why they couldn't trade it, because Padme's attached to it.
The same button just does everything.
Right.
Yeah, when he's showing Anakin the cockpit, he's like, "This button,"
Yeah, I don't know if he
Does
points
this
to that one, but
and Anakin's like, "And it also controls the pitch. It also does
Yes,
everything.
It does.
you
Amazing."
catch on pretty quick.
There's only one button.
And that's Rick Oley, isn't it?
The character, the pilot.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we introduced R2D2. That's kind of cool.
He's kind
Right.
of like the tour guide guy, not R2D2, but the pilot. He's always like saying, "And this is Coruscant. The entire planet is one big
How do you
city."
give that juxtaposition?
Juxtaposition.
Is that the right one?
I don't
No.
know if that's the
What word am I thinking of?
like
Ignore me.
Exposition.
Exposition. Yes.
there it is. For the audience. We'll edit it to make you just say that
Perfect. There we
first
go.
time, Cody. I got
Okay,
you.
Good.
What were you gonna say about R2?
Nah, it's
That
just,
they
They introduce
introduce
him.
they introduced him. I don't know. Kind of cool.
Let me see him. That little droid did it.
And he just got completely lucky. Like the other droids got blown up. I mean, easily
The
could have been
Force
him.
was with him, Isaac.
I guess so.
He's one with the Force.
And the Force.
And the Force is with him.
Yeah, R2.
And actually, I'm also like thinking like, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, like these Jedi, they're really powerful, but it's like easily could have just got blown up here.
Well, right. They're still on a ship in space.
They're not flying it either. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a lot of times you see like the Jedi are flying it, and they're usually they should be better pilots because they have the Force.
Obi-Wan hates flying.
He hates flying, but he's still got to be a way better pilot than the average guy, but maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, you see like the bounty hunters, it's like sometimes even just a lot of skill can overpower a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's a good point, but it doesn't fully make sense. Like their reaction time should be way better.
Yeah.
They can block bullets.
Yeah. Who knows?
Anyway, yeah,
Yeah, it depends on what their force level is, if they've leveled it up enough.
right.
Right. They got to level up piloting.
Depends what their skill points. Yeah, they put their skill points on the wrong stuff. Obi-Wan put his on charisma. It's a waste.
I thought it was funny how they say the hyperdrive is leaking. Like leaking.
That's probably not a good thing. What's it leaking? Oh, it's just hyper matter fuel all over the inside of the ship.
Like nobody talks about getting their PPE out or anything.
Do you remember one of the early episodes of Droids where the R2 and 3PO are out on the outside of the ship doing repairs and they just
Yeah.
accidentally fling the hyperdrive off into space?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that could have happened
Sounds
here
like
too.
something Jar Jar would do. He could have continued the plot and gotten rid of Jar Jar.
What more could you want?
About the Gungans, I was reading about Gungans. Apparently, there was some researcher helped to document their language or something.
Oh.
But he was working for the Baobab archives.
What? Really?
That we saw in whatever that episode was.
It was one of the Rune games ones. The Rune
Yeah,
Tale of the Rune Comets.
Yeah, it was right before they go to the ruins. I thought that was great.
That's awesome.
Oh, and this is also the movie that has Ben Burt as a Baobab relative,
Oh yeah.
Oh.
just hanging out in the background on Naboo at the end.
All right. Everybody
Oh,
here is missing
the-
out on the Baobabs. They just don't understand the attachment that we have to that name.
Yeah, go back and watch Droids,
I can only imagine.
or listen to us talk about them. They're a merchant family. The Baobab merchant
this?
fleet.
Yeah.
Well, you know the Baobabs, Isaac, from Droids.
Oh, you didn't see those.
Right. Yeah, I know. Continue.
Anyway, Ben Burt is a sound designer for Star Wars. He's done all of them.
Okay.
He's in the background of one of these scenes and credited. There he is. I found it.
Yeah, it's at the
Credited as a
celebration
guy.
at the end.
Hey.
A member of the Baobab merchant fleet, apparently. I think he gave himself that title because he also worked on the Droids cartoon.
Yeah. And he doesn't do anything in this movie. He's just
It's funny.
He voiced the droid BD-1 in Fallen Order.
Cool. Well, voiced. He voiced R2D2 as well by doing all this.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That's what they say. Yeah.
I was like, wait, did he talk? It was just beeps and bloops, wasn't it?
Right.
That's impressive.
Yours didn't talk?
So yeah, cool pod race. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Talk about C3PO here. We are introduced to.
Oh yeah, we'll have to spend a lot of time on the pod race.
Just like the movie does.
But what about C-3PO?
I don't know. I'm getting bored. I was going to say the pod race is extended too. Like they
Yeah.
added in scenes.
Did they?
We were talking about like what kind of special
Oh.
edition type changes were made.
Well, and you're watching it on Disney Plus, right? I watched the DVD of it, but I think that also had some extra pod racer scenes.
If Anakin's flipping over a pod racer and then Gasgano blocking him, those two are. I'm pretty sure those are added.
Yeah, I think that was on the DVDs as well.
Yeah.
I remember in the DVD release, there was the extended pod race. But then you were saying, Aaron, that they redid Yoda to be CG. He was a puppet
In the
originally.
theater, in the video release,
Oh, right.
Yoda was a puppet for episode 1, and CGI in 2 and 3.
I don't mind that they did that, to be honest.
He looked a little funny.
He didn't look, the puppet...
He looked more like a puppet.
He looked more like a puppet than he did in The Empire Strikes Back.
I wonder, maybe because like the environment that he's in, like in Empire Strikes
Right,
Back,
the lighting.
just like this murky, swampy planet. So there's fog.
It's weird because they must have tried to make him as
Yeah.
accurate to the original puppet, but he just did not look right.
Well, maybe was he in amongst like CGI stuff too?
That could make it look different too.
Versus
Yeah.
like, back then it was okay, we have a puppet and everything's like real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that could definitely give you a different feeling about it.
He did look a little different too. His hair, he like had more hair or something.
Well, they probably changed the puppet to make him look younger, right? 30
There
years
you go.
earlier.
How would he look that much younger? He's 900 years old.
I don't know.
He would look exactly
But
the
I think
same.
they did. I don't know if it makes sense, but I think that's what they were trying to do.
No, I might agree with.
It's so weird.
Like he has like hair on this. He has like a Terry Bradshaw haircut.
He's got the Terry Brad.
Like, look at all the hair on his ears,
I don't know.
and then nothing on
Yeah,
top.
We got a side-by-side image pulled up here. That's what we're looking at.
I want to see a side by side with the original puppet though. I feel like something about his lips and eyes just doesn't look right.
He definitely does not look. Well, he definitely doesn't look right. That's for sure. I don't know if he ever looked right.
I think it's I bet it's I think they made some changes to the puppet, and I think you're right about it being in like a CGI environment, and the lighting, they've got much brighter lights shining on him than they did on Dagobah.
He definitely looks different. The lips look
Yeah.
totally different.
Look at this. How is that even trying to be the same? It's terrible. See, yeah, it's something.
he looks freaky in that.
full screen. Just
Okay,
yeah.
so now I'm just saying for the benefit of the audience, listeners who don't hear it, we found a side-by-side image now of both puppet Yodas from The Empire Strikes Back versus puppet Yoda from episode 1.
And it is not even close.
Oh, like his head is wider somehow, right?
His nose goes
He's got-
up, like towards the end.
Yeah,
His eyes are.
He's-
so weird.
Yeah.
It's
his wrinkles are more are protruding much worse.
just like a whole bunch
Like
of
he
little
looks
stuff.
better. He looks better in the other.
in the old one, yeah. It's really weird to me that they wouldn't have tried to copy the old one so closely.
No, yeah, it's like they didn't do a very good job of replicating it. Very strange.
Because you get Puppet Yoda is back in The Last Jedi, and he looks good there.
Hmm.
Right? Am I right? Was he a
Yeah,
puppet?
Yeah,
I think he
mean,
was.
I mean, for 900 years old, look as good you will not.
Right. He's even older there. He's the Force.
Right, he's dead here.
But I remember him feeling like, oh yeah, this is the Yoda I remember.
Looking better than ever. He still looks a little funny here. He looks so chubby,
He looks a lot better than he does in Phantom
Yeah.
Menace, though.
but it's still like not quite the same. Isn't that weird?
No.
Really hard to accurately recreate puppets, apparently.
Who would have thought?
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot one other thing that you see is E.T.'s race
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Where
The Senate.
in the
Yeah.
Senate?
in the Senate.
What?
Jumping ahead, but I just randomly thought about it.
No,
in
we're
the
jumping
Senate.
all over.
I just looked out the corner of my eye and I was like, oh, that's right. I totally forgot that they were in here.
The ET race?
Yeah.
They're down in the corner in one of the boxes.
Yeah, I think it's right there.
There they are. There they are.
Oh,
ETs.
yeah.
They're part of the
Yeah,
Star
I
Wars
remember that.
universe, confirmed.
Yeah. ET, go to the council meeting.
ET vote now. That's what they're chanting.
there you go.
Nice.
That's perfect. And those guys are just freaky. The guys are like dancing.
Yeah. Other guys, they look like
Darth Maul.
Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas.
What? They were shown briefly early in the film.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't made like a goofy video of them, but like with some goofy music going on.
Dancing,
It looks like they're like dancing when they're like.
All right, I'll get on it. I'll put it on the list. That'll never happen. But...
We talked about Anakin on Tatooine, right? Little Annie.
Yep.
He's a person.
Mm-hmm. And he cares a lot, and that's gonna be his downfall.
Let's just say that he was pretty wizard.
You're a wizard, Annie.
Yeah.
A wizard.
So there are wizards in the Star Wars universe.
Because I remember I saw.
Yeah.
It's the robot chicken one, I think, where he's like, "Why does nobody say wizard anymore?" or something like that. And I was trying to figure out why in the world they made that joke in Robot Chicken until I finally heard one of his.
Yeah.
It's like when he's first getting the podcast, or
Yeah.
so when he's setting up for the race.
The
his
podcast.
friend, pod racer.
That's so
His
wizard.
friend said, "Yeah, it's so wizard, Annie," or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And Uncle Ben. No, my goodness. Uncle Owen. I'm thinking of a different franchise.
Uncle Ben.
He calls Ben a wizard.
Yeah, oh, right. Uncle Owen says, "Old Ben, he's just a crazy old wizard."
Oh yeah.
Because they knew that they were space wizards.
Well, I guess there's wizards.
Or are they all just Jedi? And people don't understand where their powers come from.
That could very well be as well. I mean, a lot of people don't understand the Force. She is not 14.
I noticed this in this scene when they're eating at the table. So Jar Jar like eats an apple. He just gets it with his tongue, right?
Yeah.
So they're talking about pod racing. He says,
reflexes.
Qui-Gon's like, yeah, you must have Jedi reflex to race pods. And then immediately here, he grabs Jar Jar's tongue, showing that he has Jedi reflexes. And then Anakin asks about if he's a Jedi. I thought that was great.
It was.
I never
It's not
thought
just
of
a
that.
joke about Jar Jar, okay?
No, I think I'm always so distracted by Jar Jar. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I've definitely, I like that. I think it's like a clever way of bringing it, if anything, like bringing it up, because I think Anakin already noticed that he was kind of a Jedi.
Yep.
But then Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon brings it up and then basically shows that
Yeah.
But like it's not like intentional necessarily. He kind of like he already told him not to do that.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
To eat the food like that. Yeah.
It's just clever. Yeah, I liked it.
All right.
And then Anakin calls it a laser sword. It's like, okay, that's not what it's called.
Yeah. And now I'm no longer impressed.
Yeah, change my mind, kid. You can
Sorry,
stay
movie.
here.
It's not a laser sword. Stupid.
If you're going to talk about my Jedi weapon, get the name right, please.
No one could kill a Jedi.
I wish that were true. And then he gets killed later,
Yeah.
right? I think that's another little.
Little foreshadowing.
Foreshadow.
I wish that were true.
He has foreseen his death.
I was wondering if it meant like he had a friend or somebody whom he lost.
Yeah.
You know, that could be too, and he probably does. Jedi are.
I'm sure he's just known Jedi who have died. And that's
Oh, I'm sure he
how
has.
it goes. Yeah. Qui-Gon's a very interesting character. Feels very like, realistic, believable.
Yep. He's not just like this good doer, like can't go wrong Jedi, like Yoda or something.
Like Yoda.
Well, I don't know, but like that's kind of what Yoda's portrayed as anyway, a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. At this point in Yoda's life, in a very different place.
Yeah.
Anakin talks about how he had a dream that he was a Jedi, which I had never thought much about, but I wonder if he's having dreams of the future.
Yeah.
He came back and freed all the slaves.
Well, yeah, that part
He
didn't
didn't do
happen.
anything about that,
No,
did
you're
he?
right. That didn't happen.
In fact, he killed all the Tusken Raiders. But
Yeah.
Same thing. He freed them from their bodies.
yeah.
Yeah, he has dreams about Padme dying in childbirth as well. So,
Right.
he has those kinds of dreams.
But like the future's
Yeah.
always in motion, right? So what you see might not
Premonitions.
always come true.
Premonitions, you say?
Right. Here's a question. Do you think things would have been different if his mom had been able to go with him?
I don't think so.
No.
It was inevitable.
I mean, Padme was kind of his downfall, but also just like his attachment. I don't know. It's also like I thought about that. It's such a like a fluky set of circumstances, and then all of a sudden he just kind of went over the edge and felt like he couldn't go back and couldn't lose Padme. But it was like, yeah, any one thing, I guess. So maybe it would have been different. Any one thing, I feel like could have prevented it. You know, it seems like, in my opinion, like Revenge of the Sith, you see him go from like he's still, yeah, he gets overly angry and stuff sometimes, but like total Jedi to then all of a sudden just lost it kind of.
Yeah. I don't know if I have an answer for that. It's just something I thought about. I think because of him talking about coming back and freeing the slaves, and it made me wonder, like, is there some way that could have happened?
Oh, I read that Padme and like the next queen, they actually did go to Tatooine and free the slaves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at some point that we don't see.
Like a humanitarian thing.
But apparently didn't save his mom in time to be sold.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, she wasn't.
I mean, she was kind of already free probably at that point, She was.
Yeah, you're right. Because or Lars or whatever bought her, and then
I think the bigger question is like, Anakin just never went back to Tatooine until he died.
I don't think he could really.
But, right, exactly.
The Jedi Code, yeah.
The big problem with like, why did he turn so evil? It's like he was too old when he's trained. Like that's literally why. That's why they don't train them when they're that old, because they are way too attached to other people.
And something that comes up, I think, more in the later prequels is that the Jedi are not necessarily making all the right moves.
No, yeah, that's
definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like they were making a lot of mistakes in the way they were handling probably Anakin and like everything else that was happening.
I don't think they handled Anakin well at all, but also just they've been very like they've gotten very complacent.
Yep.
And kind of felt and I think that's the reason the Sith were able to take over right under their nose. Not only that, but become more powerful than they were, because they weren't training as hard anymore or whatever.
Hard to see the dark side is.
Yeah.
I think they got all caught up in the politics of running the galaxy.
Yeah.
That's not really their role.
And also then the Clone Wars happened, which was part of, the Emperor's plan. And that really took a toll on them too.
Massively. Yeah. Then the show does a really good job illustrating, that they were Jedi. They're not supposed to be leaders of like a war. They're not supposed to be generals. And they're thrust into it, and a lot of Jedi, some of them make some pretty bad decisions along the way.
Yep.
Old Luke kind of calls him out on that in right, says
you fought in the Clone Wars.
The Jedi got when he's talking to Rey, he's like saying how the Jedi Order got too, I forget the word he uses, but too content with things and kind of let Sidious just take over.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that they did touch on that in the new sequels.
Yeah.
That is kind of what they're looking back on, and Luke was trying to do it right this time.
Yeah.
Burn all the Jedi texts, even though they don't.
Right.
Jedi texts.
Page turners, they were not.
Like you wonder what was in there. It's like the most boring stuff ever.
Probably. We get to see, the pod race then.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we going to try to name off every character?
Well, I don't know. I was just trying to think how many pod racers we could name. Just from memory.
Annie, Saboba,
Gasgano.
Yeah, I don't know. I played the game quite a bit.
Arsgoo.
But not as much as you guys, I don't think.
Ben Quadraneros. Got
And Quaternero then is 3 droids.
Bull's Roar.
Like, I remember them more from the pod racer game than from the movie.
I'm reading the subtitles from the movie. They're announcing it.
Oh, all right.
I can't remember everything.
No, that's probably as many as we were going to get.
The top of my head? Come on. Saboba.
I thought you were.
Yeah, I was impressed. Okay, that's okay, because I'm going to ask the same question when we get to the Jedi Council. So
Mahonic.
Mahonic doesn't sound even remotely
Clegg
familiar.
Mahonic is
Man, he looks familiar, but the name
He's a
doesn't sound
Grand.
familiar.
Isn't that what they are? The 3-eyed guys.
the 3-eyed things. They're from Malastare. Like also the Dugs are from Malastare.
oh, yeah, and that's where they also have pod racing.
Yes.
But Qui-Gon mentions Mouse there.
very fast, very dangerous. Clegg Holdfast, did I say that? Dud Bolt is a good one.
Dud Bolt, yeah.
I mean, they're all in the game, which is...
What was the, he's not in the movie, but what was the one that had like the backwards pod?
Oh, man, right?
It was like the little rat or something, or mouse, I don't know. That's what I always thought of. Bat? I don't know.
All I know is that the pod race is coming out on the Nintendo Switch here sometime soon, so that's cool.
Yeah, the old game, right? They're re-releasing
Is it like the old game or like a redone game?
No, it's the old game.
It's like the original.
Yep.
I was going to look up, like, did somebody make, like, an HD mod of the original Sword One Racer? Because that would be fantastic. Here we got Odie Mandrell.
He's the one with the pit droids that keep doing all the slapstick.
Yeah.
The new lap record.
The Three Stooges?
It is, right? Yeah.
It's sucked in the turbine.
A lot like that.
Oh, no.
And you get the two-headed announcer. This is a lot like the pod race we see in the Droids cartoon.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm assuming that
You guys see a pod race in the Droids cartoon?
well, sort of.
It's a speeder race.
P.U.S.A. A swoop bike race?
It's like land speeders, like the one Luke drives around. But the way they have it all animated, it's a lot like the pod racing scene here.
And it's in a giant hamster tube.
Yeah, so they have it like you go around the track once, and then it goes up into this series of tubes that the audience can actually see, because then you can watch the race versus this where you watch them go by for like 5 seconds every lap, and then you just sit there and wait.
They watch it on the view screen.
Yeah.
I pulled up all the characters from the game. Mars Guo is one we didn't mention.
No, Isaac said
He is
that.
I said Mars Goo.
Oh, Gasgano, did we say him?
Yeah.
Yep.
Rats Tyrell, good one. Teamto Pagalias, I
You have
guess.
pictures next to him?
I mean, yeah.
I was
You can
curious.
go and look these up if you want to see what they all look like. I might have to do
The
that
dog
later.
one. But some of these are not in the movie. But I was trying to remember the one that had the backward engines. I think it's this guy, Neva.
Oh,
Key.
yeah. I think that's him, too.
He's called a Zamster with an X, like a hamster.
Is that like, yeah, I was gonna say, is that like a hamster?
Whatever.
All right. I've heard more creative names than that, but okay.
And Jabba the Hutt is presiding over the games.
Yeah, it's CGI Jabba.
Yeah.
And he falls asleep. That's how many of these he's been to. Just another day.
Right. Is this
In the
Bib
life of Jabba.
Fortuna by him?
I think that is supposed to be him.
Yeah.
Who?
Bib Fortuna, the Twilight
Oh,
guy.
Bib. Right.
Yeah. And Mrs. Hutt over here.
You know,
Gargola the Hutt?
Oh, Fortuna.
I don't know if that's actually Gargola.
I don't know.
Well, CGI Jabba isn't nearly as gross as Puppet Jabba.
Yeah.
Not quite as gross as Pizza the Hut.
Nothing's as gross as that.
But in his case, gross is a good thing, like, because he's supposed to be gross.
Yeah, he looks more plastic in this.
Yeah. You don't get the same reaction from him. Like in Return of the Jedi, he's actually kind of revolting.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Leia agrees when she's like
Right.
laying on him.
Here he's just kind of a blob.
He really let himself go.
Yeah, he was looking pretty trim. What kind of workout program was he on?
In this.
Do you think when he was really young, he was just like a thin...
They all start out that way.
Is it possible for him to be thin? I mean, like he can't do anything.
I think Hutts are just naturally.
No, we see a baby Hutt in the Clone Wars, and he's a blob too.
Yeah, and they are, but they're still just stocky little slug things.
Wow, look at the thin Hutt. Looking good.
Did you Google thin Hutt?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, more of a snake-looking creature.
Right.
Interesting.
Here's Warwick Davis.
As a member of the audience, pod racing audience.
Laughing hysterically.
Yeah, I know.
Probably just happy he doesn't have to wear a costume this time.
Right. He doesn't play any other characters that I can think of.
Is he the little baby Greedo that is Anakin's
I don't
friend?
think so.
Oh, okay.
I guess I didn't look, but welcome to correct me.
I might.
Who can Google it fast enough?
You have something, Isaac, you wanted to say?
About what?
The Hutts.
Oh, it's like how are they so powerful?
Because
They
they're so
can't
fast.
do anything.
They're gangsters, you know? It's like the big mob boss. They've got their goonies. It doesn't matter.
At some point, they had to have been. I mean, they're clearly they must be very smart, I guess.
Because like, how do they get to that point of having the power?
Yeah, like I get that they are to that point, and now it doesn't matter. But like at some point, they had to get there.
Yeah. And guess what? It was Warwick Davis who played the little kid.
Nice.
Sorry. Anyways, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
He had to run down to the pits real fast.
Yeah, here's Gasgano gets the screwdriver in his. Not this guy.
Gasgano does?
No, not Gasgano. Sorry, Mars Goo. I think is the one that gets the screwdriver in his engine. And blows up.
Right.
That's what he does.
Somewhere.
I was looking up Warwick Davis's characters. Yes, he also is playing Anakin's little Rhodian friend.
Mm-hmm.
But he also is that little is that wild-haired guy in the stands whose name is Weasel, and the credits say that he is the same character as he plays in Solo. Apparently,
He's in Solo.
he's in Solo as like a member of that.
As Weasel.
Apparently, the same character. Yeah, just happened to be in the pod race stands here for some reason.
Well, I mean, they like to do that with these kind of
Yep.
random-ish characters, and then all of a sudden, like you're like, oh yeah, they gotta have a backstory.
Yep. So that's what I've got for you.
This scene was added in when one of his pods comes loose.
Yeah.
That's part of the extended race.
I've said I really like the music in this movie, but I think it's kind of cool that most of the pod race scene doesn't have any music, so you just get to hear all the cool sound effects. That's the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, the sound design is fantastic.
That had music in that whole scene.
It comes
Later,
in toward the
comes
end,
here
I
and
think,
there.
or maybe a few points in the race, but most of the race doesn't have music.
I think there when his pod comes loose, and then later when it's just him and Sebulba.
Yeah, toward the end it comes in again.
Yeah.
Okay. Hoodoo.
Hoodoo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Duel of the Fates? No.
The best song.
Oh, we get introduced to Darth Maul.
Yes, who is very cool looking.
Yeah.
Watch Anakin just fall on his face in the desert.
Anakin drop.
He's a good listener.
I wanted to just like see this without Darth Maul in the back. He just falls. It's like
Oh, one of those days.
You've passed your first test, Anakin.
he says, "Wait, Master Qui-Gon, I'm tired." He just falls on his face.
I thought you meant where he says Anakin drop, and then he falls in the sand. Yeah.
Well done. You listen to everything I say.
Passed the first test.
Or he's just like, what an idiot. I can't believe you fell for that.
Well, you know, he's connected with the Force, even if he doesn't realize it. He could tell that something was coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. He saw it. What else do we want to cover?
We gotta move along.
Yeah, we've got a. Oh my.
I know.
We're gonna be as long as the movie.
We can just say some quotes, right? You're a Jedi too. Pleased to meet you.
I was just gonna say, I guess I like again with the whole Sith coming back when Qui-Gon's explaining that he thinks he got attacked by a Sith, and like just how Mace Windu kind of is like, I don't think that's possible. We would have known about that. You know, just kind of like the blind arrogance that they've developed.
Yeah.
They feel like they know everything. There's no threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When clearly there's just been Sith existing this entire time, manipulating things, and they just have no idea what's going on.
Qui-Gon's probably the one Jedi who's seeing things more clearly than anybody else.
I don't know. Nobody suspects that there's a Sith Lord operating
Right.
on Coruscant.
Instead, there's just some crazy guy with red lightsabers just shows up. Who knows what it could be?
That's why maybe it's okay that Qui-Gon is kind of going against the Council a lot of the time, because I think he kind of just has a better sense of what should happen.
I mean, I imagine they've probably seen rogue Jedi occasionally. You know, like Jedi that will fall to the dark side, but they're not part of this rule of two and like.
Yeah, as far as they know, it's not like the true Sith.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I don't know. I think I like Mace's character because I think it portrays just the Jedi Council and how they're kind of like, I don't know, maybe a little conceited, but also their view of Qui-Gon a little, because like, you know, Qui-Gon's like also this boy, you know, talking about this boy, and they're just like, whatever, Qui-Gon, like, okay, he's just, you know what I mean, like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I just feel like no, Qui-Gon knows what's going on, but like they just kind of, I don't know, they kind of are arrogant. They think they kind of know everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say we talked about Qui-Gon being a do your own thing kind of a guy, and yeah, Mace Windu and Yoda have this kind of like I don't know, like they're a little exasperated with him. I think he's saying, "I'm gonna bring in this kid I want you to look at," and Mace is just like, "Fine, whatever, do it."
Yeah.
Like,
Bring him before.
All right. We'll just say yes, just to, so you stop.
Yeah, and then Obi-Wan a couple of times I think calls him out about like, why don't you just listen to the council, Qui-Gon? Like, you could be on the council if you if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think right, because Obi-Wan's definitely more of a, kind of by the book, and Qui-Gon's, well, that's why he's not on the council. He kind of
Exactly.
like you guys said. I think they just portray it really interesting more in this one than the other ones, just showing how like blind and maybe clueless the council has become.
Yeah.
Complacent.
Right.
Anyone want to yaddle off some Jedi Council member names?
Oh, well.
Plo Koon.
Yarl Proof.
Yeah.
Is he?
Kiadu
They don't even
Mundi?
show him. They don't even show the half of these guys. That's the problem.
Are some of
do.
them?
Yarl Proof shows up for a couple seconds in one of these shots.
Right here in the
Yeah,
background.
you're right. Oh yeah, and Mundi.
E.A.D.
Okay.
Mundi.
There he is, wiggling his head back and forth. Woo.
All right, who else we got?
I mean, obviously Yoda and Mace Windu.
I don't know a lot of the names though.
No idea who they are. Soon dead and gonna bite it.
Who's Kit Fisto? Is he on the council?
He's the.
I don't think so.
He's the green. Well, yeah, he's green with
Or is he just-
black eyes.
Is he just some guy, some other Jedi?
Yeah, I think I don't think so. He shows up when they all attack the on Geonosis.
Yeah.
Methulian.
Yeah, they're from a water world.
That's one nice thing that you get from what should we call it? The Clone Wars is you get a lot more screen time with all these other Jedi.
Yeah.
They'll just come in and like, oh, hey, I remember you. You actually do stuff and have a personality.
Did you get a list of them all? I think this is all of them here in this one shot. We got
Yeah.
1, 2,
Okay. So
3,
I'm not sure which is which, but I do have a list of them.
12. Are there 12?
And they're all there too, which is interesting.
They're always here.
Yeah, they're 12.
They're not right. They're not off doing anything because there's nothing for them to do.
Yeah.
Did we say Plo Koon,
Yep.
Deepa Bilaba, Eth Koth, Adi Kalia, Oppo Rancisis, Evan Piel?
There's not that many people.
I think we listed everyone else already. I was just reading the ones we hadn't already said.
There's this guy we don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know which of these names belongs to which person. I'd have to.
Okay, I guess that's probably right then.
That was episode 1. Oh, there are some different ones in
Oh yeah.
Shakti, right?
Right. Yeah. We'll have to do a revised council member list.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A cup. A ship.
Shit. I mean, why do they even have him do that if they're just gonna say he's too old?
Well, they have to check.
Like, I can see it in the reflection of the window.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do they though? Like,
No, I'm wondering if they're just distracting his mind so they can just read it, see what he's thinking.
Oh, that's a good point. The test is not the real test.
Of course not.
Oh,
because they probably know he's gonna be able to do that if he has that many midichlorians.
that's a good point. It gives Yoda a chance to sense.
Anyone with like 200 metachlorians can do that.
Yeah.
I was watching Ghostbusters a while back where Bill Murray is testing people like this for their
Oh yeah.
telepathy, right? Seeing
Yep.
Oh,
and he
right.
likes this girl that's doing the test, so he just keeps telling her she's getting them all right,
Yeah.
even though she's not.
Right, and then the other guy that's doing the test with them gets it right, and he just shocks him. So, anyways, political scheming. Our boy Shev here manages to convince Padme to call for a vote of no confidence. Chancellor Valorum.
Sheev Palpatine, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Chev.
I mean, I just can't pronounce it like that. I mean, come on, look how it's spelled.
It has 2 E's, isn't it?
But yeah, no, he's totally just scheming and dealing right here.
His name is Chev Palp. That's what his friends call him.
A Poor guy.
But no, yeah, he does a great job of twisting Padme's.
He's apparently from Naboo.
Yeah, that's where
Yes.
his home is.
I mean, he's a chancellor of Naboo. But is that actually like, is he a native of Naboo?
Yeah, he is.
That's cool.
Hadn't thought of that.
Just the looks that he's given her.
When she says she's going to go back to Naboo,
Grew up with
he
guns.
says, no, you can't. You don't want to do that, do you? You sure?
Yeah, I know.
You sure?
Plans are ruined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way he talks in her ear and stuff too. It's like he's very manipulative. Worm tongue over here.
Yeah, like is he maybe he's using the Force on her?
Oh,
Well, he kind of got her trapped too. Like she clearly doesn't like her face. She doesn't really want to do this, but like doesn't have any other option.
Yeah, just
calling
the fact
for the no confidence vote.
Yeah.
Right. And she's not happy when he's nominated either.
I really like Valorum's reaction when she says that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he looks legitimately pained. How could she do that?
Yeah.
Well, they're talking to. I mean, like Palpatine is telling her like the bureaucrats are the real ones who run the Senate. Like
Yeah.
they're the ones with the money, like the Trade Federation. It's all this inside conspiracy.
Yeah.
And I feel like Valorum sits down. He's like, yeah, like he probably originally had good intentions and was a good leader and stuff, but like probably true.
Yeah.
They probably own him, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to.
Yeah, the system is kind of getting in the way of things.
The system
Is down.
down.
Yeah.
Ian McDiarmid's such a great actor as Palpatine.
Yeah, it's crazy. He was the original emperor too.
Well, not. Did he play the weird bug-eyed version?
Not that weird hologram in Empire Strikes Back.
But by Return of the Jedi, it was him.
It was? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Very cool.
He looked good.
Well, he wasn't that old when he was playing him.
They had to use de-aging technology for these movies.
This guy's like 120.
Right.
I thought he actually looked like that.
No.
Well, I mean, you saw how he looked in Rise of Skywalker. That's him without makeup.
Right.
What's that?
Yeah, they didn't have to use makeup for the sequels. Yikes.
Gross.
Yeah, so then they decide to go back to Naboo.
We said going home.
Yep.
And they convince Boss Nass, who is a Gungan, but a different subspecies of Gungan, apparently.
Yeah, it's like a subspecies.
Yeah, I had to
Yeah.
look it up because
Interesting. I think he doesn't look like too much different. Like it's mostly their eyes are slightly different, and you don't see his ears, but he's got the same kind of ears. It's just like tied behind him. I think you see a couple shots of behind him, and it's mainly the eyes, and he's chubby.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently they are like a
yeah.
variety.
And,
Species.
right, and then there comes the big twist that Padme is actually the queen.
Queen, and nobody knew it.
Well, yeah. What do you think of that? I think it's a fun twist.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah. That's a good decoy that they didn't even know.
Yeah, and then all the times where Padme was like, the queen would not approve of this, and he's like, the queen doesn't have to know. But in reality, she was the queen, and she knew, but she couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
That's on Tatooine, and then Panaka says the queen wishes it.
Yeah.
It's like he knows it's her.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to watch the movie when you know that they switch off like multiple times throughout the movie,
Yeah.
and you can tell the difference. Like they don't look exactly the same.
But especially the first time seeing.
Oh yeah.
When you're seeing this for the first time, Natalie Portman was not such a well-known actress, so it would be easy to get her mixed up with her handmaidens.
Is Padme ever dressed up as a queen?
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, she is, but I couldn't tell.
When she's like in the Senate, she is. What do you mean?
Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
There are a few parts where she is, yeah. But like I said, it's not easy to tell. She does a different voice. She has that white makeup on.
She's got that weird voice that she does that I don't know. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she does a lower voice. This is her when Anakin goes to say goodbye.
How can you tell that's her?
She's out there. I can tell. They look
We've
different.
seen enough Natalie Portman movies. I know what she's.
You just look at their
Well,
faces.
with all that makeup on, you can't tell the
Yes.
difference.
Their eyes are different. Look,
Compare that white face, painted up face, to another white painted up face that isn't her.
there you go.
They'll look identical.
This is not her. It's mostly when like she's in danger. Their eyes are very different. Her eyes are like darker.
Their eyes, I guess, from here. So I don't know. Well, that one I know, but you're telling me that's her and the other one is.
This is not her.
Do you know that, or are you just
No,
saying?
no.
I
you
know
think-
that for
I
sure.
can tell. I can see it.
I do. You can
I
really
don't-
tell.
I
When you're
can't
looking for it,
tell.
you can really tell. Here, when they're trying to convince her, see, that's not her. This is
Well, that's because
Natalie
she's
Portman.
right there.
Yeah.
Well, right.
But you can
the
tell which is
difference.
which by looking at it.
You're saying when Natalie Portman's got the makeup on, it's hard to tell.
I think if she wasn't next to her, we wouldn't know.
Okay. I like the parts where she is like giving her orders to the fake queen, and she says, "We are brave, Your Highness," like code words for yes, you should do.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty clever. Like I think it's interesting just to see like the points when she has her handmaiden impersonate her, because it's generally in points where her life is in danger. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but she still has to tell her.
But yeah, they have their ways of communicating. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, you actually that one line. I'll go back to it. You see her decoy. She says that, and she looks down like, "Oh, I just crashed down." Her decoy like nods like, "Okay, that means we're going to Coruscant."
Where are you taking them?
You can see her.
Coruscant.
See the fantastic acting. I actually think it's good. She's like, "Oh, yep."
And I wondered if Qui-Gon was starting to pick up on it
Yeah.
after a while.
I probably when she came along on Tatooine, but maybe not. Anyway, good. What's next?
The giant battle.
The big battle.
Ooh.
I know. I mean, we're getting through it. We're just about done here.
Love me the big battle, especially well now because I look at it through like a Legion lens. So I'm like, oh, they can make models of that and
yeah.
have these, which they are now. It's great. Can't quite justify building a whole nother army.
Well, there's a board game called the Queen's Gambit, which is apparently the rarest, most sought after Star Wars board game ever. That includes every aspect of this battle in one board game,
Really?
and it has a multi-tiered building for the palace attack.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
That's insane.
There you go.
Like the space battle and everything too.
It has everything.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, it does.
I'll pull it up.
Sounds
That looks-
complicated.
It's so precarious.
Yeah.
Balancing the different. Oh my goodness, this is insane. This one is set up kind of like Memoir, Commanding Colors, hexes, moving armies around.
Oh,
That one's set up like squares.
check out that game. Madness.
Yeah, look at that. There's so much stuff going on.
But yeah, it's super rare and super expensive.
Man, I got a 3D printer. I could just print everything out.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there you go.
How much do you think it's going for these days?
I don't know. You can see it anywhere. Do we want to talk about this?
The game.
No, we don't have to talk about it.
Here you go. On Board Game Geek, it
Oh,
says
okay.
it's $425.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
Yep.
We should probably focus on one battle at a time, huh? Which one should we focus on first? The battle droid battle? That one's pretty straightforward.
Oh, we could. I liked that they had so many battles happening at once. It felt like maybe they were trying to top what they did in Return of the Jedi, where they had a similar kind of,
Yeah.
multiple fights happening.
And it was the classic. Everything goes bad at once, and then
Right.
Right.
And everything turns around at the same time.
it was great. It went like from one to the next. It was like bad. You know,
All hope is lost.
Qui-Gon dies, and Anakin crashes his plane. The Gungans get arrested. The
Mhm.
Padme and them get arrested. I think it was one right after another.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about the space battle. I
Yeah,
guess.
that one's pretty
quickest one.
straightforward.
Everything's overheated.
I guess the only thing I'm thinking with that is it's very coincidental that Anakin just happens to go to the correct part of the ship and blow it up at the right moment.
Force was guiding him.
I know. Everything that's too coincidental in this movie, I kind of just tell myself, well, I think the Force was just kind
Right.
of...
Oh, and of course,
Reading it.
the greatest thing that came out of this scene ever, of this section of the movie, the soundtrack, Duel of Fates. Oh,
Right. Duel of
probably
Fates.
one of the
Yeah.
best Star Wars,
Classic.
songs of all time. Super recognizable and great.
We found a great video where they added English words to it. And I can't remember what it is now, but it sounds like that's what they're saying when you're reading it. You've got the Windows XP battle, the Gungans. Any comments on that one?
Gungans have a pretty legit army.
Just waiting for the Gungan army to show up in Star Wars Legion, because they got like a fully fleshed out army with different infantry, support units, tank units, artillery.
Well, they're cool.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Jar
a
Jar
warrior
makes them
race.
look bad.
If it wasn't for Jar Jar, people would be like, "Man, these people are pretty cool."
Right.
That's why they banished him.
Yeah, in the palace, they do some good grappling hook action.
I don't know. I skipped over this part because we were going to watch it. You guys were ready. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, it's probably fine if I skip this. I bet in the script it just said white.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Like, there's not that much to talk about. It's super cool to watch for sure. But I mean, like, if you've seen the movie, it's like, yeah, space battle. There's the ground battle, palace battle, and the Jedi battle. Great. It's all awesome.
Yeah. And the lightsaber battle is the best part of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's epic.
I mean, compared to the original trilogy, man, they stepped up their game. Like, it's just so...
Oh, my gosh, he's amazing.
Ray Park.
Just his choreography and...
It's like this super acrobatic guy.
Well, because he's... Yeah. I mean, like, they hired him because he is a martial arts guy, and he doesn't have a lot of dialogue, so all he has to do is flip around and look cool.
Look at this lightsaber flip that Obi-Wan does. I don't know if I ever, seen this shot.
Oh,
right there.
What?
He flips it in his hand.
So you're talking about that kind of flip, right?
Yeah, where he's completely letting go of it in his hand.
He'll just roll it in his hand. Yeah, he just didn't he'll just do these quick casual ones.
Very impressive. Yeah, I like the double-bladed lightsaber. It's the first time we see that in Star Wars too, and
oh yeah,
I just love seeing new things done with lightsabers, and they did some cool stuff in the sequel ones, but there's so much more you could do than that. They didn't go nearly as far as they should have, to make it really feel fresh.
Even at the very beginning when Qui-Gon is melting that door with his lightsaber, that's different. That's something different.
Yep.
Totally.
Well, and Dooku's got his curved one in the next one. They're kind of it's a little more subtle, but
yep, they're a little different.
Just going in different things. Yeah.
But yeah, everything in that. Where are they even? Where are they fighting? Just someplace that has a lot of cool lights.
Yeah.
It's like the big generator for the city. It's underneath the city somewhere.
I love those force fields in that hallway that are blocking them.
Yeah.
Although Mary was asking what the purpose of those things was, and I didn't really have an answer. Just to look cool.
And they activate and deactivate seemingly random.
Reminds me of Galaxy
But I kind of wonder.
Yeah. Why is this here?
Yeah. Who put these?
Whoever wrote this episode should die.
I imagine it's some safeguards against a nuclear meltdown or something, I wonder if Darth Maul was controlling the force fields. Doesn't really make it clear.
Because he tests the force field.
Yeah,
I don't think he is.
I don't know.
I've wondered that too, but I don't think he is because it wouldn't really make sense.
Just staring down with Obi-Wan, and I think he's trying to see if Obi-Wan's just gonna lose it, let his anger take over.
I like things like this that forces them to stop fighting for a little bit and just kind of wait and look at each other. I feel like it builds the tension a lot, right?
Yeah. Qui-Gon just kneels down to meditate. Yeah. For the door.
It kind of shows their different personalities. Obi-Wan's upright. He's more tense. He's younger. Qui-Gon kneels, and Maul's just pacing.
Pretty cool.
He can't wait till the next battle. I mean, I think he says that to Sidious when he's at last we reveal ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Been waiting for this a long time.
It's raring to go.
Well, and it's the dark side too. They live for that a bit, but
yeah, he's letting that anger fuel him.
He knows it's a day that's been in the making a long time.
Right. Oh yeah, it's very significant. When he fights him on Tatooine, that's their big reveal.
Right.
Yep. I mean, spoiler alerts, I guess. Everyone knows that Darth Maul comes back somehow in the Clone Wars.
I thought you were going to say Qui-Gon dies. What?
Yeah, right.
No!
But yeah, Darth Maul despite being cut in half, somehow survives.
I just watched the episode when he came back too. That was not what I was
Crazy.
expecting.
He's got like mechanical legs.
Yeah, but they're like these gross spider
Yeah.
leg.
I haven't
Oh.
watched them yet.
Oh man.
Well,
I'm gonna be fresh for me.
okay, I won't tell you what happens, but I feel like his attitude when he comes back is kind of interesting. Like he's kind of looking back at like he kind of hates Darth Sidious
Mm-hmm.
because it feels like he kind of has this feeling of like, well, Darth Sidious like told me all this stuff and I like believed him and thought I was like part of this big movement, you know, like to take down the Jedi and everything.
Mhm.
And then I just got killed and like where was he then, you know?
Yeah.
Like he feels kind of disillusioned by the Sith. Like he's kind of like, I don't really care about the Jedi or the Sith. I
Yeah.
do my own thing now.
Yeah. All he wants is revenge against Obi-Wan.
Like Sidious, I mean, he's not really following this rule of two. He like takes Darth Maul, but then he's like also training Dooku.
Yes,
Isn't he? Dooku.
I
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah.
so.
He is.
Yeah.
Or Ty-
Dooku left. Dooku left the Jedi Order and ended up joining. I don't think they're. I don't know. Were they actually both under him?
Or were they both at the same time?
That's what I'm saying. It's like in secret.
I don't think they were because Dooku was a Jedi a long time.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm pretty sure Dooku's already.
Well, he might have left. I don't think he left and became his apprentice instantly. Is my point. It's 10. There's 10 years in between the movies.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know a book came out recently about Dooku. I'm trying to remember what it was, like Apprentice or something. But it was it's apparently really good.
My sense is that he's actually been training under him for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I don't know. I know I've read some different books. I don't remember if those said that or not, or from just. Well, actually, one of them did have, because he was Qui-Gon's apprentice or master at one point.
Okay. Anyway, and then he takes on Darth Vader, but it's like he's really just using quote unquote apprentices, using them just to continue gaining power for himself.
Hmm.
I don't think Sidious. Well, isn't it thought that maybe he's Plagueis or something, or like he's taken over people? No.
Oh, like transferred
No,
his.
Are there no? Yeah, or is that? Are there no theories like that? I thought there was.
I don't know.
I'm
In the
not
new
sure.
movie, he was like a clone of himself.
Well, I know that, but
Was he? It wasn't
This
real
one,
clear.
I think, is actually him, but I don't know. And then we got the Wikipedia open for Sidious.
Well, maybe we can find out more about that when we get to some of the
Oh, yeah,
other
we got more
Yeah.
time.
movies later.
Alas, sadly, Qui-Gon Jinn dies, and that's the last we see of. Or is it? It's not.
What? When
Of
do we see
Qui-Gon?
Qui-Gon again?
He shows up in the Clone Wars.
Oh, well, I don't remember, so don't tell me. I'll watch it fresh next time I see
Oh, that's great.
As a Force ghost or with robot legs.
He's got a robot stomach now. He can
Right.
digest anything.
It's incredible.
Oh, boy.
They burn his body. Nasty.
Yeah, that would stink.
Traditional Jedi funeral.
Yeah, I don't know why it's tradition, I guess, that they burned a Jedi body. I don't know how Luke knew how to do that then at the end of, episode 6.
Well, usually they just disappear. Why didn't Qui-Gon disappear?
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, who knows?
This is just raising more questions than answers.
They say there's always two, master and apprentice, who was killed, right? And then they pan over to Sidious because
Yeah.
obviously he's evil. Come on.
Can I say, I do remember as a kid thinking like, oh, that's some pretty nice foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's pretty obvious. Like, I think, going in that this guy is the Emperor.
yeah.
Well, I was trying to think. If you had no clue whatsoever, like if you had not seen any other Star Wars, would you know? I don't know if you would pick that out.
If this was the very first thing you watched, yeah, maybe you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Right.
wouldn't know. Because you don't see him, like, take off his evil hood and there he is or anything like that.
Anakin's just got his spiky hair at the end, his Jedi hair.
Well, this is 1999.
Yeah.
Just like, as much as the original Star Wars had the 70s haircuts
Yeah.
until when these were made, too.
By Queen Amidala's hairdos. It was like totally the style in late 90s, early
Maybe
2000s.
not her hair, but
Yeah.
some of the Anakin hair.
Well, so what did you guys all rate it? A yub or a nub?
Give it a yub.
Are we still doing that?
He gets a yub or a nub. That's how we vote around. We rated all the Ewok shows, Isaac.
Really?
They're mostly
Yub or-
nubs.
I was gonna say probably not many yubs. Yeah.
There were a few.
Yeah, we could do a rating system for the Clone Wars too.
Yeah, as far as the movies go, I don't know.
I mean, you're gonna watch all the Star Wars movies. It's not like you're gonna not watch them.
I mean, you could say, I guess, like what your favorite movies are, I guess, but I don't know.
Oh.
Of the prequels, this is my favorite prequel.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
I think like all three of them have some bad moments, but in general, they're all good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say this is the best movie of the prequels, but I enjoy watching it the most.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is, yeah. And like the second one, man, some of those cringy love stuff that comes up in
Yeah.
the second one.
But other than that one has some really cool stuff. I think. too.
Yeah, I love like the realization of them coming to like the clone army and all the stuff that's being set in motion.
The Obi-Wan,
Oh,
Django,
so great. Yes.
Well, Django and Zam.
That part of the beginning is great.
Whatever. Oh man, there's some really cool stuff.
Yeah. We'll get into all of that. Don't you worry.
Oh yeah.
So exciting.
Don't you touch that dial.
Yeah, you get Vader breathing at the end of the credits.
Do you?
We do?
Yeah, you did. Very end. Oh yeah, very end of the credits. You hear Darth Vader's.
Was that in the original?
Yeah, that was there from in the theater. I remember.
Interesting.
That's as close as Star Wars gets to end credit sequences.
Right.
Did you guys see that they're doing what are they putting some sort of is it behind the scenes for The Mandalorian?
The Mandalorian. Yeah. We do a whole series of behind the scenes.
Which is awesome. I love behind the scenes stuff. So
Very, very cool.
especially with some of the technology that they used on The Mandalorian.
Yeah, they use like the projector screens for a lot of the background
it's
stuff
nuts.
instead of green screen, which is very cool.
Yeah, and it's all like rendered in real time in Unreal Engine, and
Yep.
that's pretty cool.
Cutting edge.
Next time I subscribe to Disney Plus, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, right.
I've been kind of just doing it like for a month at a time, once in a while.
Sure.
Actually, yeah.
Well, I'm good to call that good. We were quite thorough. Holy crap.
It's a long episode.
We recorded for about the runtime of the movie. So stick around. We'll cover episode 2 next time on Star Wars Total Rewatch.